Hey everyone, welcome. This is the commentary on my recent Tricks of the Month video. I'm going to be going over some of the broader themes as well as commentary on specific tricks as we go through it. To start out, I had 6-ball columns. Oh, and I'm going to have it in half speed so that I can actually talk at an okay clip. And the idea was on the left here, I'm doing columns. On the right, I'm doing 2 separate cascades, one in each hand. I really wish I could have run the cascades a little bit longer to really hit that aesthetic, but such is life. This is also where I learned that my setup was not particularly good for split screen. While I do have a lovely tripod, I actually don't have a cell phone adapter for it, and I'm recording on a cell phone, except for this gimbal. And I was hoping that the gimbal was going to be consistent enough to make a reliable split screen, but it was not, and I'm not a good enough video editor to fix that. So that was a bit of a shame, but it only appeared twice, and hopefully it wasn't too distractingly annoying. And then we have our lovely Tricks of the Month. I think we can go through that a little faster. There we go. Here it's a transition between asynchronous columns and synchronous columns. And I guess I'll make commentary here. It's as good a place as any. It was somewhat difficult for me to find backgrounds that were interesting at all. Like I'm in Canada, it's cold and it's lockdown. So, well, lockdown-ish, lockdown light maybe. Which means that I have my house and that's about it. So I tried to spice up backgrounds where I could. In this situation and throughout, I have the other beanbags kind of hanging out in the background in their respective shapes. So we have the blue ones in lines, the orange ones in kind of parabolic cascade looking patterns. And I liked to imagine them as kind of the traveling soot or soot sprites or whatever you call them from Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro. I just found it very charming to imagine these beanbags like looking out from behind things and watching the other beanbags have fun in the air. This one I think was pretty straightforward. It was 1 high, 1 low, 1 high, 1 low, 1 high, 2 low, 1 high, 2 low, 1 high, 3 low, 1 high, 3 low, and 1 high, 4 low, 1 high, 4 low. The odd number lows are a little bit more annoying because you can't do these perfectly like column switches. You have to like do a little carry in order to get it above the dropping down ball for the inverted throw afterward. Still not the end of the world though. Oh, this pattern is from Ezria on Discord, and it is a monster. Even in like quarter speed, it's hard to follow. And you can see it happening. Like, it's a nightmare. The idea behind that is you're switching from cross-columned inverted box to cross-2x'd inverted box. And the way that you do that switch is with a high-low, but instead of swapping the balls, you let go of the balls when they're vertically stacked, and then you switch which hand is grabbing onto which. I've worked on that pattern for a pretty long time, and I'm going to keep working on that pattern. I think it's lovely, and I really want to do it justice better. Here we have high-low around inverted box, one of my very favorites, and I think the only pattern in this entire video that I could do during my first Tricks of the Month video. Here we have inverted sprung 420. I really like the lines that this makes. And here we have a handful of transitions between different versions of columns and Boston messes, I guess you'd say. The idea is that by throwing a 5-3, but then switching the hand positions rather than switching the balls, I guess, you're able to switch between different versions of Boston Mess, of which there are 16, I think, something like that, 12 or 16. And those are the four that I think look the most distinct. Here I'm doing the exact same sequence. Seeing juggling from above always, well, for me, when I'm seeing my juggling from above, it always makes, I think, everything look really, really sloppy. It's a cool effect if your patterns are squeaky clean, but this is painful for me to watch. Then we have 5-ball Boston Mess, and I really wish I could have gotten the 20 catches of that, or maybe 40 catches of that, but man, is that a hard pattern. It's a lot of like, ugh. This is a transition from one dots style to another dots style. The one style has my hands controlling things. Well, actually, it's just a matter of tempo, I guess. This is the 1 high, 3 low, inline 3. You throw one ball high, you do 1 round of inline 3, then you go back into it. You might notice some of these houseplants look familiar. I was taking them between rooms with me because I needed something to spice up backgrounds. Oh man, that pattern is a beast. Looking forward to working on that one some more. I'm gonna pause here just for a sec. That's split synced dots, and then you really have to like drive one super high so that you can do 1 round of inverted, or some people would call it two rounds. Anyway, 4 catches of inverted box under that. And oh man, to get the height on that dot, like you're throwing an 8 from such a disadvantageous position. Like you're throwing an 8, grabbing it here, and like you have maybe a foot, not even a foot from that position to get that ball high enough. And it is biomechanically not easy. Oh, this, yeah, high-low synced dots. I like how this one looks. It's simple, but I think it's quite nice. And then cross-arm dots. Everybody asks for this. It's not as hard as you think, despite my awkward execution of it. It's definitely hard to run for any long period of time, but not terrible in general. Now we switch to the Cascade section. So Cascade are orange balls. This is the canonical 4-ball Cascade with arms crossing here. I had to retake this because I did it wrong in my first take and I didn't notice. I had 1 extra throw in there, which is extra embarrassing. This is a separation with dwell time. The idea is that this pattern is supposed to be a 5-3 with the balls going the same heights. And the 3 gets to the same height by having practically no dwell time. It's supposed to be a slap. I don't think I executed this that well, but you know, hopefully the point got across. Wimpy dots. This one was also a bit of a nightmare. There's so much going on and it's so collision prone. Now we get into the low highs section. So this is 2 up, 2 down, which means I throw 2 balls consecutively going upward and then 2 balls consecutively going downward. It's the most solid for me of these versions, and I think it actually looks the best too. It gives you that fun little bounce as well, which I think is charming. This is 1 up, 3 down. So you see the 1 ball coming up from my left hand, and then 3 consecutive downward throws. And the last one is 3 up, 3 down, which for a while was my favorite, and I'm not sure if it still is. But I like its parallel with baseball pitching. 3 up, 3 down is about as good as you can get for a pitcher, or defense in general, I guess. And now we finally get to the combination of different props. This is really what, in my mind, inspired this. I had a bit of a long intro here to sync the music a couple phrases later, but I liked how I kind of looked right and then the right me appeared. That's how I kind of tried to cover that. And I'm going to pause here. On our right here, I'm doing Bonko, which is the Japanese origin version of 3+1. And then on our left, I'm doing the 3+1 in Siteswap 4. So we have Banco on our right, which is, I don't remember the Siteswap. It involves some 5s and 2s, I think. And then on our left, the Siteswap is 4. And this one I associate more with Quinn Lewis, and I think he goes by Udonko on Instagram. And he has a lot of really cool 3+1 Siteswap 4 variations, like doing windmill and doing mills and cascade. Here I'm just doing the cascade version. Otherwise it wouldn't have fit the theme. So yeah, here we have Wimpy versus two sets of columns. I kind of like this. It wasn't quite as hard as I thought it was going to be to run it not cleanly, but it was tough to run cleanly. And then here we have a version of 6-3 diamond 6-3-3 dots. I decided to make the inside throws more deliberately cascade rather than, I'll say, the typical pattern, just because I wasn't able to actually make them look appropriately liney. I like these two sets of dots where you have the Wimpy on the top and now you have the Wimpy on the bottom. I think these were quite charming. They're not crazy hard either, so that was really nice. And then we have the rotating 4s. I love this pattern. I thought this pattern was so hard for a long time, and then something clicked in my head and I could kind of do it. Here is kind of like an inverted sprung cascade, but every time you hit one of the outside points, you pop the ball up as a column. And I like that because, I'm gonna hop back for a second. I like that because the blue ball makes a box by itself. So it's kind of like a spiritual box within a real box within a spiritual box. That was supposed to be inverted sprung 5550, and then after I saw the clip played back, I realized that I didn't spring over that ball or that ball, and it was terribly disappointing. But things gotta get published. And that's a hard trick where you have to reach over and grab the 2x on the other side. I'd like to be able to run that, but I've been working on it forever and it's really hard. This was maybe my favorite new pattern of the video, which is an inverted sprung W. Not technically all inverted sprung because the inverted ball doesn't go over certain balls that it otherwise would have, but I'm imagining the Siteswap here between this blue ball, and the orange ball as a 4-2-3 in the shape of a W. And anybody who does 4-2-3 in the shape of a W knows that you can either have it as 3 columns, or you can have this middle ball kind of bounce back and forth. I didn't really do this by choice. I kind of did it the way that I could do it, and then I recorded it, and it seemed like the 3, the inverted sprung 3, acted more as a cascade throw, which is why I color-coded it in that way. Though you could totally do it in either way if you had Rockstar control. Alright, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. I hope you got something out of this. And if you have any other questions, please put them in the comments, and I look forward to discussing this video with you. I really love the idea of lines versus cascades. It's something I've been working on for a while, and this is probably not the last you've seen of it. Alright, thanks y'all.